Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, or good evening. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for the Cancer Coach Talks. I'm your host, Leslie Nance, and I am thrilled to be with you here this evening, coming here to inspire you and to teach you and to educate you and to cheer you on in your own personal cancer journey. So thank you so much. If this is your first time visiting here, or if this is your 50th time visiting here, thank you so much for taking a little time out of the evening. This just tells me that you're a person that is very, very, very interested in healing your body and healing your mind so that cancer can bugger off for good. So thank you so much. I'm going to introduce myself in just a second. Just give a few minutes. Hi, Anne-Marie. Okay, then that's confirmation that I'm good. If Anne-Marie's saying hi. Hi, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me introduce myself super fast. My name is Leslie Nance. I am a certified holistic nutritionist, a certified holistic cancer coach, and I am the cancer coach here in these particular talks. I'm also the founder of Any Stage Cancer Protocol. If you don't know what that is, I'll be sharing a link a little later to give you more information about that. So hang on to your riches for that link coming up at the end of our broadcast tonight. So as advertised this evening, I am going to be talking to you guys about the 3 reasons you are focused on the wrong thing in your journey. And I didn't want to give too much away in the title because I didn't want you to start debating this in your mind, because that can be a very slippery slope. And so I didn't want you to have all the information in just the title. So I was a little vague about it this week. But really what we're going to be talking about is the fact that you're probably spending too much time thinking about how far you have to go instead of celebrating how far you have already come. When I'm talking about, specifically talking about your cancer journey. So if you have not already, please share out with your community. It's super easy to do that. Hit that share button and share out with your family and friends, or whatever community. If you're a member of groups, if you're a member of cancer groups, sharing out there with them. You never know who needs this information tonight and whose life it may shift into a different perspective. So please feel free to share out with your family and friends. We love, love, love it when you do. So I'm just going to make a quick test here and just make sure that I am indeed live. Oh, yep, there I am. So goody, goody, gumdrops. Can you guys hear me okay? I guess I should have checked that too, right? What's the best way to check that you're still in remission? No evidence of disease other than PET scans, right? You know, I have to tell you, I get scanned every year, Terrence, but that's just my due diligence. I really think it comes down to trusting your body. I mean, 100% trusting your body and understanding that you're designed for You're designed for healing. You aren't designed to be sick. None of us are designed to be sick. Our bodies are designed for healing. And if you know anything about anatomy and physiology, you would know that we are incredibly designed for healing. And I know this is something that you struggle with, that you ask a lot about, and that you struggle with as well, Terrence. So it's going to come down to you doing the mindset work to really trusting your body, that you are fully healed. So yes. And by the way, I do stop often and answer questions that are out there. So you're more than welcome to type in your questions and your comments. In fact, we would love it. Love, 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 love if you do. I'm sorry I haven't been here for the last couple of weeks. My dad actually ended up having a minor surgery, and I wanted to be with him for that. And then we did a little end of summer mini break as well. And so I was gone during that, and it happened just to be back to back there. So yeah, absolutely. All right. So here's the topic tonight. 3 reasons you're focused on the wrong thing in your journey and on your cancer journey. And this really has to do with spending too much time thinking about how far that we have to go instead of thinking and celebrating how far we have actually come. Hi, Eugene. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. So I like to start this conversation off about talking about an athlete in training. And so At one point in my life, I was an avid bicycle rider. I was a runner as well, and a long distance runner. I am not built for speed. I am built for endurance. And so, and literally, I am built for endurance. I am not built for speed. And so I was a long distance runner for a while, and one of the things that I used to do in training was really have to shift my mindset around to not what the goal was, but how far I had already come. And this became very practical, especially when I was running long distances. And so if I was running a 20-mile race or a marathon, 24 point, what is it? 24 point something. Anyway, if I was running a marathon, it became very important not to focus on those last 4 miles that I had to go, but to focus on the 20 miles that I had already went. Do you see the perspective shift there? Do you see the mindset shift that is so blatant right there? When we focus on how far we've come, and stop focusing on how far we have left to go, it is a huge mindset perspective shift. And so I noticed when I would do that as a runner and as a bicycle, because my bicycle races used to be like, 150 to 100 miles. So they were super long. And so, but when I would focus on that, when I would focus on, okay, you've gone 60 miles, you only have 40 miles to go. Then I began to say it to myself like that. Wow, you've already come 60 miles. You only have 40 miles to go. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I have 40 miles to go and I've already ridden 60. Do you see the perspective shift there? Do you see how that merges over and it makes such a huge impact on the way that we think about our journey? Now change that to cancer. So a lot of you, excuse me, a lot of you are I've been doing a lot of talking today. A lot of you are in active cancer treatment. Maybe you just started your journey. Maybe you just got diagnosed or found a lump or questioning, what to do next. And so you're just at the beginning of your journey. And a lot of times I will say that 9 times out of 10, that a full cancer journey from start to finish, even small ones, can take up to a year of your life. And the maintenance of it, staying in remission, takes even longer. It takes the rest of your life to stay that way. And so, but it seems like forever, right? It seems like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be bad. Imagine having a cold for a year, or imagine having the flu for a year. I mean, it sounds awful, doesn't it? But the reality is that there are ups and downs of that. So I work with a lot of women who have breast cancer. And when these women come to me, most of the time they're at their beginning of the journey. They have just been diagnosed with breast cancer. Because I'm a breast cancer survivor, it's naturally the people that gravitate towards me because of my story. And so, but a lot of women come to me at the very beginning of their breast cancer journey. Either they've just found a lump, or they've just been diagnosed, or they're just starting treatments. And, it can be a long path, especially if you have to do chemotherapy first, and then you have to have surgery after that. And then they have to put in the expanders, and then you have to, and then sometimes there's radiation, and then sometimes there's 5 years of one drug, and sometimes there's 3 years of one drug. And then you have to have a surgery to have, implants put back in if you're going to choose reconstruction. And so this can be a very long, drawn out process, unlike a lot of other processes in our lives. So it can feel like it has robbed you of a year and a half of your life. And so when they're first starting out, all their focus is on is all the stuff that has to be done. Oh my God, I have 6 more chemo treatments. They've already done 6, but I have 6 more. And then after that, I have to do radiation. And then after that, I have to do, instead of celebrating, I've done 6 chemo treatments and I only have 6 more left. This is that half empty, half full personality. Now you can train yourself to be a half full person. You can train yourself. If you are naturally a half empty person, you can train yourself to be a half full person. Now, coming from me, my perspective, my lifestyle, everything that I believe has always been half full. I am just that person. I just truly believe in the best in every situation, in every circumstance, that there's a lesson, that I'm being challenged to learn something, that I am being tried because there's something that needs to be corrected in my life, that there's a breakdown somewhere in the communication of my body and I need to fix it. So anytime I have anything like that evolve, I take it as a challenge. And so in my own personal journey, mine was not quite as long because all I did was surgery and radiation. And so I had a lumpectomy and then I did 6 weeks of radiation. But it took me a long time to recover from all of that. And even longer if you're doing other types of treatments. And so it really becomes important that you celebrate what has already happened and how well you have already done. Find the tiniest, smallest successes that you can find and celebrate the heck out of them. So the number one is this. If you're only focusing on how far that you have to go, you will dread every single day of the journey. If you're only focusing on how far you have to go, you are going to dread every single day of the journey. Write it down. If this is you, you need to write that down and look at it on paper. And I am dead serious right now. You need to write that down and you need to look at that on paper, because this is no way to battle cancer. This is no way to walk through something like cancer. When you're dreading every single day after the next, you're basically wishing your life away. And I understand how hard cancer is. I understand how hard diagnoses are. I have been there. I have done that. I get it. And some days you're like, screw it. I am done. I mean, if this thing kills me, it kills me. I'm just done. And there are other days when you're like, in it, you're going to fight. You're going to do this. I'm doing this. I'm fighting. There's no way I'm giving up, right? And you're going to have these days. But if you are constantly focused on how far you have to go, you will dread every single day, one after the other. If, however, you continue to celebrate how far you have already come, how far along in the journey you already are. It doesn't matter if you just got diagnosed. You need to be grateful that the cancer was found. Celebrating that, saying thank you that I found this sucker before it killed me. Seems crazy, right? Thank you for the lessons that cancer has come to teach me in my life. I promise to learn them well, so that cancer never has to come back as a teacher. Do you see these powerful mindset switches? If you celebrate, you will find motivation every single day. You will find happiness. You will find joy. You will start looking for reasons to celebrate even on crappy days. A lot of my clients, and I won't walk you through the whole process, but a lot of my clients, I have them do brag books where because they're suffering with self-esteem or self-confidence. And I have them do brag books and brag on themselves about how awesome they are and how awesome that they're doing. And this isn't let me blow some smoke up your skirt kind of situation. This is truly finding real gratitude for every single day. I love that, Anne-Marie. Good for you. Anne-Marie says I'm going to put that up on the screen. Anne-Marie says, I say my gratitude prayer each morning. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing that with us, Anne-Marie. Number 2, if you continue to focus on how far you have to go, then you will lose sight of what your real goals are. Now, I know for a lot of you, you think that the real goal is to be cancer-free, and that is a goal. No joke that that's a goal. But what if cancer was here to teach you something bigger than that? What if it was here to teach you something beyond your wildest imagination? You couldn't even fathom what happens next after cancer because it's too wonderful for your human brain to even comprehend. This is what happened to me. This is what happens to a lot of my clients. This is personally what happened to me. I would not be here with you tonight if I did not have cancer. Now, cancer does not make me special. It does not make me better than you. It does not make me worse than you. It puts us on an even playing field, and it allows me to come here and speak about these things because I have walked a mile in your shoes. I understand. But I would never have that joy for this particular subject and topic, cancer, and passion and health, if it had not come into my life. So number two, if you are only focusing on how far you have to go, you will lose sight of your goals and you might miss your calling. You might miss your passion. And you don't want that, do you? I don't want that to happen. I used to be a weight loss coach. So for a long time in my life, I worked for a company. You may have seen their commercials. They used to be a very different company than they are now. But I worked for a company called Nutrisystem. And this is where my passion for health actually started to grow out of that journey, is when I worked for Nutrisystem. And they would bring in young professionals and they would train them and teach them all about nutrition and how the body works. And I was like 20, I'm going to guess. I think I was like between the ages of like 22 and 25. And I worked for them for quite a while, actually. And I loved my job there. I got to interact with people. And now they're just an online company and you order food and they send you food and whatever. But when I worked for them, we actually had weight loss centers and people would come for counseling every single week. And they would focus on, losing weight. And we did give them prepackaged foods, and it wasn't great. As knowing now what I know about prepackaged food and freeze-dried food, it wasn't great. But they ate like astronauts. Everything was freeze-dried. And so anyway, but I loved my job because I loved to watch people transform. I loved watching women who thought that they could never lose weight and this would never work for them, come in and lose the weight and feel so amazing. And so one of my tricks of the trade, because I was a center manager, I got hired on as an assistant manager, and then I was a center manager, which means that I oversaw sales and ordering of food and counseling and the counselors that were doing the work and the nutritionists that were working with them and the weight loss coaches. And so anytime there was a problem, the weight loss coach would bring me in and I was young, but I knew a lot about the human psyche, even my intuition has always been very strong for that. And so I would be called in every once in a while because the counselor wasn't getting through. And so I remember specifically one day, so I kept a 10-pound, a 20-pound, and a 30-pound bag of dog food in my office at all times. And here's why. Because women would come in and they would sit down, or men, and they would sit down and they were frustrated because they hadn't lost, any weight that week. Like they'd gotten on the scale and they didn't lose any weight. And they're like, and they wanted to give up. And so I would go into the office and I would sit down with them and I would hear their struggles and they would be really frustrated. And so I remember particularly I had a woman that had lost like 50 pounds already. And she had about 60 pounds to go. She was about 120 pounds overweight when she came to us. And so she had Anyway, she had a lot of weight to lose. And so she had lost about 50 pounds already. And she was so frustrated because she didn't lose any weight that week. And she had been losing weight consistently and she had kind of plateaued a little bit. And so, but she was focused on how far she had to go. She wasn't focused on how far she had come. She was only focused on how far she had to go. So I went in my office and got my 30-pound bag of dog food and my 20-pound bag of dog food. And I brought it into the office where she was. I had to carry them separately because they were too heavy for me to carry at one time. And I told her, I said, okay, so now I want you to stand up. And she's like, what are you doing with dog food? I think she thought I was going to like belittle her or something, you know, because like you're a dog or whatever. And this is what a dog eats. I don't know what she was thinking, but I said, okay, so stand up. And she stood up. And I said, now here. And I handed her the 30-pound bag of dog food and she could hardly hold it. And she was holding her arms out like this. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. And when I sat the 20-pound bag of dog food on top of her arms, she immediately knew what I was doing. And I said, now tell me that you're not grateful for how much weight that you've lost. And we both started, it almost makes me cry now. And this happened 20, almost 30 years ago. And she started crying and I started crying and I took the dog food from her. She's like, it's remarkable, isn't it? And I said, it is. I said, you've got to stop focusing on how far you have to go and focus and celebrate how far you have come. And it's the same thing for you. She was miserable in that situation. She had lost focus on her goals. She dreaded every single day until after that. And then about 6 months later, I got to watch a new woman walk through the doors after losing all that weight, over 100 pounds. And it was an amazing feeling for both of us. And so same thing for you in your cancer journey. If you're dreading every single day, you may need this simple mindset shift. Celebrating how far you've come and not how far that you have to go. Maybe it's a celebration of life. I'm alive today. Gosh, I opened 2 gifts this morning. They're called my eyes. That's not my line, by the way. Right? Number 3 is, if you only focus on how far you have to go, the end will seem like it is nowhere in sight. It will go on and on and on and on, and you think this is never going to end. And that is miserable. What do I have to do now? What's coming up next? Why am I being put through all of this? When you feel bad about the situation all the time, you're never going to find your purpose. You're going to dread every single day. And chances are you've fully blocked your healing pathways. So there's the 3 things tonight. The main topic was you spend too much time focusing on how far you have to go instead of celebrating how far you've come. And the 3 reasons why that's derailing your healing process is 1, if you focus on how far you have to go, you're going to dread every single day. 2, you lose focus on your goals in life. Cancer's really good at making you do that. Don't let it. And 3, you'll think that the end is nowhere in sight. And it's possible that it could be nowhere in sight because you're blocking your own healing pathways. Are we cool? Everybody good? Did you enjoy that? I love that. I love that. Anne-Marie says that her family made a countdown board for all of us. I love it. Focusing on how far you have come, not focusing on how far you have to go. Sorry, I know when I hit my table, it makes a weird noise in my microphone. I try not to do it. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. I need to sit on my hands. All right. So if you are interested and you are wondering how to learn more, I promised you earlier that I would share more about any stage cancer protocol. If you would like to know more about that, this is a great place to do it. I typed this on the screen earlier and it took it away. Crazy thing. There is a free training. I should copy and paste it. I need to get better at this. There's a free training that is 5 steps how to become the boss of your cancer. If you guys have questions, you might want to type those in right now. And this is the link that you find that free training. It is I'm going to put it up in just a second, bit.ly/cancer boss. That is an absolute free training. I will give you a little tip. If you register at the top of the hour, like 3 or 4 minutes at the top of the hour, you'll be able to jump right into that hour's training, just so you know. So there's a little quick tip there for that. So let me post that real quick. Oh, dang, it put it in the wrong place. Hold on. I swear. I swear. Me and technology, we get along so good. So good. All right, let me put it here. I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put it in the comments down here. That's where I meant to put it. All right, that should work better. Does anybody have any questions for me this evening? I only have a few more minutes left. I actually have an appointment at 6:30, so I need to leave right at that moment. But if you have any questions, you might hear my dog bark because somebody's coming to my door. If you have any questions, I'd love to take those. Let me just introduce myself one more time. If you're jumping in just now, my name is Leslie Nance. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, certified holistic cancer coach, and I do consider myself the cancer coach. And I do these talks every Tuesday, well, most Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific. And you'll have to figure it out if you live in Central Time. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those right now. If not, go check out that link that I just posted, free training, 5 steps how to become the boss of your cancer. It's a really great training. I get so much good feedback. I had a woman that just emailed me today that said, I watch your free training and I feel like I'm like elevated to a new level of thinking through my journey. So I love that she shared that with us, shared that with me and my team. I shared it with my whole team tonight. So it was really exciting to see that. Doing good work there. My team is so amazing in making sure that people that register actually get access and get all kinds of good information. So yes, so please check that out.